The Browns have a little bit of a problem here as we continue our season 4 journey. And that problem has to do with the re signing period this season. And to make matters worse, it's not just a one sided problem, there's a couple of contributing factors to our problems here. Number one is that we have several starting caliber players, namely kind of this big four here, all up for contract and only $47 million remaining. We made some big signings. The team is starting to get expensive here, and it's soon about to be time to make some very tough decisions. The second is that other than Myles Garrett, nobody really seems to want to come back. And this is a problem because two of these players are offensive linemen, and I've worked really hard to build up a good offensive line in the series, and it looks like all that work is going to need to be redone in a matter of just one offseason, with potentially two offensive linemen leaving in the period. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything that we can do to increase interest here. For Lance Linton, no. There's nothing that we can really do to increase his winning percentage. We're not going to increase our head coach's career win percentage up above 60 in the matter of a season. So this is pretty much as good as it's going to get. So if we want to be able to re-sign him, we need to get him to 87 overall. According to our house rules, he needs to get 2 upgrades. Now he's very close to one of them, so we'll need just one more throughout this season. I think that's doable, but even if we get him eligible for a re-sign, that doesn't mean he automatically re-signs, because we're going to need to overpay him, and he's already asking for $25 million a year, and that is the neutral ask, and he doesn't have interest. So that would take over half of our cap space remaining to bring back Lance Linton, which is obviously something I very much so want to do. In the case of Matt Gleason, if we look at his player card, the thing that we could do to vastly increase his interest would be to make him a scheme fit. Now, this is one that is always tough to gauge, because you could always cheese this and temporarily turn your scheme into one that would be a scheme fit. And I think in some situations, it's not all that cheesy. It kind of depends on the position. For example, a man-to-man corner carrying about a scheme fit that plays a bunch of zone, that makes sense to me. But in other positions, I don't think it quite makes as much sense, like wide receiver, for example. You don't want, even if your scheme fit is deep threat, you don't necessarily want all of your receivers to be deep threats in a deep threat scheme. And offensive line is one that I can kind of see it actually coming into play if an agile offensive lineman wants to play in more of a zone scheme and a power offensive lineman wants to play in more of a power scheme. But a pass protecting center, I think I'm a little bit on the fence about whether or not this would be too cheesy to temporarily change our scheme to make him want to come back more, because there aren't really I think there's like one scheme that has pass protector as an interior offensive lineman focus. And when it comes to his run blocking abilities, he's really close on both ends, but he does have power as his better scheme fits when it comes to run blocking. And for interior offensive linemen, I think for the most part, it's just what kind of run blocker they are that should matter scheme wise over pass protector. But again, I think I'll go ahead and maybe defer to the comments section on this one. And to be fair, I have only worked on his run blocking throughout his entire career. It's just that his pass protector keeps getting better with those upgrades, and so there's no chance I'm going to get him to a scheme fit naturally. There's a 7 overall gap, and he's maybe going to get 2 upgrades this year, so it's not going to happen that way. And then, in addition to those 2 offensive linemen, probably are 2 of our 3 most important, 3 or 4 most important original Cleveland Browns are also up for contract. David Njoku doesn't want to come back, and as much as I've loved David Njoku, this might be his final season in Cleveland. He's 32 years old, and we just drafted his replacement. I think we did it for a reason. We knew this team was about to get more expensive, and David Njoku, who's been so productive for us at times, was a guy who hauled in 10 catches in our last spotlight game. It might be his final go-around with the Cleveland Browns. And then there's Myles Garrett, who is also 32 years old, but he's still 97 overall, and a player that I just don't want to quit. He's so good. And I know he's only coming off of 8 sacks last year, but he's had a good start sacks-wise to this season. He's somebody that if we're not going to be able to re-sign, is obviously going to be somebody that I try to trade. He's still 97 overall, despite the fact that he's 32. I think the fact that he is 32 probably doesn't allow us to get a first-round pick for him, but I could see easily somebody giving up a second for Myles Garrett, maybe even a second and a third, something like that. Whereas Njoku, I think I just want to keep him on the team. I think he's so important to the offense that he has to stay on the team. But it's either re-sign or trade with Myles Garrett. Can we get Lance Linton back? And these two players, unless we change the scheme fit for Matt Gleason, are probably gone. And with our cap room, there's no chance we get more than 2 of these 4 players back. There was also a comment from the last video that I absolutely agree with. Ernie McFerrin was just too good of a running back at that age and overall combination to sit on the bench. And somebody suggested that maybe we trade him within the division so we can still see some of him maybe thriving with another team. And I feel like the ideal fit ended up being the Baltimore Ravens. We know they'll run the ball a lot, and so he'll get plenty of opportunities. And I didn't want to not get a running back. We only have 3 on the roster, so I need 3 back. And the Ravens signed Jerome Ford, so longtime Brown coming right back to the squad, and we're getting a 4th round pick in return. It's not for this upcoming draft because the Ravens didn't have a 4th for this upcoming year, but for the draft after that. I know I could have gotten more for McFerrin, but trying to keep things realistic here on the franchise, and I don't think a backup running back has ever given you anything higher than a day 3 pick in a trade. Week 3 would be a victorious weekend for the Cleveland Browns. Donald Richardson, 3 touchdowns, no picks. We held the Houston Texans to just 7 points on the board, 80 yards on the ground for Jahmyr Gibbs. Receiving wise, DeMarcus Meredith led us in receiving. We got 2 touchdowns on 3 catches for Matt Driver in this game. In terms of the defensive production, another sack and a half for Myles Garrett. He's off to a really good start to the year. Sheldon Edens, Mike Hall with a sack as well, and then Owe with a half sack. And there you have it, 2-1 heading into a week 4 matchup against, guess who? Ernie McFerrin and the Baltimore Ravens. Before we hop into this important early divisional matchup, though, we've got some really nice players here to upgrade, starting with Matt Driver, getting him up to a 91 overall, plus 4 deep route running, gets him to a 94, which is obviously very good. Now, Lance Linton, we can get him just 1 overall away from being eligible for a re-sign here. Would love to be upgrading things other than pass protector. I think he's a plenty good pass protector already, but we got to get up to that 87 overall just to keep the option of bringing him back on the table. We also have his tackle counterpart here, Beverly. Can we get scheme fit? Yes, we can. Not that it matters much at this point, because I now have the coachability that whether or not you're scheme fit, you get the scheme fit boost to your XP. In terms of motivations for him, thinking about potentially losing 1 tackle makes me hypersensitive to losing both. Now, if we get a mentor during his contract season, we'll be fine there. And then Xavier Underwood. He's somebody that last episode, there was a request to have a Xavier Underwood watch. And I've been a little surprised, honestly, with just how much interest there's been in Xavier Underwood. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a very exciting player, and I'm super happy that we drafted him. But for the most part, he's kind of a rotational piece this year, and that is evidenced by the fact that through 3 weeks, he is yet to record a single stat. So I'm not sure if he's going to play enough to really warrant us taking a look at his stats every single week. But I also show the box score every single week. So whenever he does do something, I'll make sure to shout him out. Very exciting player, and I'm happy to have him on the squad. I don't think he's going to have maybe the role that some people want quite yet. I want to get him up into the 80s power moves wise. I was hoping that wouldn't lose his scheme fits, but unfortunately it does. Again, that doesn't really matter, but also taking a look here, he is not going to want to re-sign with the Cleveland Browns, so that's already something that is quite unfortunate with this player. Let's get into this Cleveland Browns versus Baltimore Ravens game now. Both teams will be going with a color rush style. All white for Baltimore in this game. And the all brown and orange here for Cleveland's. Both teams sitting at 2-1 heading into this matchup. And so the winner of this game gets off to a nice start here in the season. Obviously, the added storyline of Ernie McFerrin being traded from the Browns to the Ravens. If he has a big game, he could already instantly be making us regret that move. We'll first hop in here to the Baltimore Ravens, who have been going to tight end George Pitts pretty much all the way down the field, and behind Lamar Jackson there, you see Ernie McFerrin, play action. Into a quick throwaway here. With this new update, for some reason, I've noticed that the home team in every single game doesn't have their logo. It's always just the NFL logo. I don't know what Madden did this deep into the cycle to mess that up, but it is what it is. Unless it's just my game and everybody else's is fine. 3rd and 3. George Pitts handles, I think, his fourth reception already on this drive. Been a massive problem for us. And Baltimore's taking a ton of time off the clock here. In their first possession, George Pitts again, 5th catch already in this game. Pretty much every single pass Lamar has thrown has gone his direction. They give to McFerrin. He gets stopped up. Short of the line to gain. Ben Folds on the tackle. And another 3rd down opportunity for the Cleveland defense. We have not been good on 3rd down this entire drive. We send the blitz, and it is caught for the touchdown. Zay Flowers will end what was a very long, methodical Baltimore Raven drive to start this game off. Our defense has had some struggles lately, and they'll continue here to start this game. Cleveland marching down the field on our first drive due to a massive penalty on the defense for a pass interference. This one going downfield for Jerry Jeudy. Went up to go catch it, but could not haul it in. That would have been a pretty impressive reception had he been able to make it. And that's going to be a touchdown, but I think it might be coming back with an illegal man downfield. That RPO took just a little bit too long. And a touchdown wiped off the board. Instead, it'll be 2nd and 15. Richardson. Pressure coming. He throws it downfield, and he had Matt Driver, but the throw led him out of bounds. That's 2 potential touchdowns in a row, neither of which will count. So it's 3rd and 15 now. Richardson throws underneath. That's the rookie tight end, Starkey, on the reception. I think David Njoku is injured for this game. Must have been a practice injury. So Starkey will get an increased role in this one, but only got roughly half the yardage to gain here, so Cleveland will have to settle for 3. Costly penalty on this drive. Baltimore wasting no time at all. Marching right back down the field. The give is to Ernie McFerrin. We've done a good job bottling him up. Is one takeaway you could have as a positive so far from our defense. Maybe the only one early. This might be a delay of game here. Lamar just way too casual. Needed to get that motion started much, much earlier. Loss of 5 yards. That's the one downside of having to put the play clock acceleration down so low, although rarely does it ever come up. I feel like it's more of a problem of the offense than maybe the settings we have. Another great run defense fit there, so it's 3rd and 12. From the 44, Lamar has all the time in the world, is picked off. Guess who? Greg Newsome. The interception machine gets another one on those pesky little curl routes here in Madden. You better throw them right when he turns around, or else you're liable for a pick. We're going to hop right into this drive from the spot of the interception at our own 45-yard line. 1st and 10. Blitz is coming. Richardson runs right into a sack. Only 35 total yards credited to our offense because the first drive was so much penalty yardage. Pete Starkey breaking a tackle. Looking Njoku-esque on that reception. Rarely brought down by the first guy. Injury timeout on the field for Madubuike, who is a pretty big loss for the Ravens. Should he not be able to return. Richardson has a man. It's DeMarcus Meredith. Past the sticks and inside the 40. Drive continues for the Browns. The give is to Anthony Davidson. That's an RPO that the quarterback never keeps, although the blocking is heading towards the quarterback. That's just something that the AI needs to fix. Like, I know exactly what that play is. The Eagles run it. And the blocking is setting up for the quarterback to keep it, but he always gives it to the running back where there are no blockers. Anyway, 3rd and 7 upcoming. Richardson. He's going down again. The sack will be given up by Tony Stevenson. Nice pass rush win there by Stills. And it's the second sack Richardson took here on this drive, and it's going to force a punt. Baltimore driving, just a minute left in the second. Our offense has not looked good in this first half so far. Our best play was a pass interference. That one will be hauled in on the sideline for a gain of 9. Defense trying to keep this a one-score game heading into the half. In Cleveland territory now, Zay Flowers in motion. Lamar nearly gets sacked by Myles Garrett. Instead gets it out to Bateman. Baltimore will call their first timeout following the first down. George Pitts in motion. And nearly sacked again. This time it was to set up a screen, and Greg Newsome comes down, makes the tackle after a short pickup. I think with this down and distance and time remaining, we'll take that for the Browns. Lamar, you can't give up the edge if you're a Dafeowe. How do you not know that? You've been in the AFC North your entire life. You've played with Lamar Jackson. You know that you do not give up the edge against Lamar. I think Baltimore will just wind the clock down and take a timeout here to bring in the field goal unit. That's exactly what they'll do. Should be a pretty easy one here. It's up and good for the Ravens. Offense started with a 3-and-out to start the third quarter, so now Baltimore threatening to score again. Lamar has a man. George Pitts has been his #1 target today by a mile. Gain of 8 on that play. Zay Flowers crossing the formation. Play action. Lamar in the flat, and he gets crushed by Greg Newsome. Newsome having a really nice game. Glad somebody's performing. 3rd and 2. Can we come up with a big-time stop here? Lamar has a man. Past the sticks. The Ravens offense stays on the field. Pitch. No good this time around. Finally, we forced an incompletion. Headed his direction. From the 22. Pistol formation. Faking the give. Lamar throws to the left sideline and gains about half the yards they need. Third and 5. Approaching halfway mark here in the third quarter already. These Baltimore drives have been very long. They just pick these plays up 5-6 yards at a time, but this time Denzel Ward says no thank you, forcing the incompletion, and Baltimore will be settling for 3 again. The defense hasn't played amazing, but they've played pretty decent. The offense, though, has been an absolute mess for Cleveland in this game. Our run game, I think, has been our biggest problem. I don't even know if Jahmyr Gibbs has positive rush yards here. We'll go to him again, and he's stopped up at the line of scrimmage. I've seen so many -3s out of Jahmyr Gibbs in this game. 2nd and 10. Let's actually go to the air here. Our run game has been so porous. And we get Matt Driver into the flat. He'll get 6. Not quite in field goal range yet. So you got to pick up some yardage. I mean, we do have 99 kick power. We could maybe go for it. Trying to set up screen. It's batted away at the line of scrimmage. Madden is so awful at screens. It's ridiculous. We will go for a 59-yarder. Worth noting, I don't know if I've said this before, I have lowered field goal accuracy ahead of this season, down from 50 to 38. And that might be contributing to Waylon, who's now missed a couple of kicks here. 59. I don't know if I'm going for that at this point in the game, but we're setting up Baltimore in excellent field position now. Offense still has done absolutely nothing in this game. Our defense forced a 3-and-out, though, so offense gets it back. Still a 10-point game. Now starting the fourth quarter here, and another loss. I mean, Madubuike is just destroying our offensive line. It's pretty much like nobody's out there even blocking him, it seems, whenever we try to run. That one, risky throw, but it's hauled in by the Marcus Meredith. I thought that defensive back was going to undercut that route for a second, but it was placed perfectly. So we're down to the 33. Richardson has Meredith once more. This time for 4 yards. Bunch formation on the right side for 2nd and 6. Play action. Into the flat, and it wasn't really going to gain much anyway, even if it was caught. 3rd and 6. We're in field goal range. But we want more than that. Starkey down to the 1. Nearly his first career touchdown. But instead, the rookie Pete Starkey, wide open, just an absolute coverage bust on the corner route. First and goal at the 1. Browns bringing in the heavy package. Ravens heavy package to match. It's play action. Richardson trying to run for it. I'll just be pretty much right at the line of scrimmage. They might count that as a Baltimore sack. Richardson has Judy for the touchdown. Finally, the offense finally comes to life in the 4th quarter. I mean, is it all just because Njoku hasn't played that we've struggled so much? I know he's important, but it's been a rough going. But hopefully this can be a sign of things to come offensively for the rest of this game. Defense needs to come up with a stop here to give the offense a chance to take the lead. Baltimore in Cleveland territory here. That pass will put Lamar over 200 yards passing. The give to McFerrin. He's stopped up again. So it hasn't quite been the revenge game Ernie McFerrin has been hoping for. Honestly, pretty similar to a lot of games that he had with us. Just averaging a couple yards a carry. Screen game. That one works to Zach Charbonnet. First down. They caught us in a really bad spot defensively with that screen. Would have been a perfect time to try and get off the field. Instead, Baltimore's now in field goal range. Lamar dumps it off to Charbonnet. Brian Branch does a nice job wrapping up. Play action. Going deep, and he's got a man. It's George Pitts for the touchdown. He beat his man wide open, and Lamar put it right on the money. Baltimore retakes a 2-score lead, 6:23 left in this game. Browns offense driving again, but we're down to 4 minutes left in this game. We're down 2 possessions. I don't know if running the ball up the middle for 2 yards when we haven't been able to run the ball all game is the way to be going at this point. Short completion to Jerry Jeudy. 3rd and 3. Open is Jeudy once more inside the 20. You want to score prior to the 2-minute warning here. This is honestly shaping up pretty similarly to that game in week 1. Just a little bit lower scoring, but down 10. You need to get that score prior to the 2-minute warning. We keep checking it down here, so that's we're not going to score prior to the 2-minute warning. We do have a man wide open, though. Touchdown to Marcus Meredith, the touchdown machine. That's the play we needed. Now we need the stop on defense to keep our hopes alive, and we did actually do it before the 2-minute warning. 2:01 remaining. If we can kick it into the end zone here, which we should be able to, the 2-minute warning will not happen. No, we can't kick it in the end zone with 99 kick power. Are you kidding me? How does 99 kick power not get into the end zone pretty much 100% of the time? So we don't get the benefit of the 2-minute warning, I guess, but we still, of course, have 3 timeouts. Unlike the Giants, the Ravens actually will try and run the ball here. 2nd and 7. Lamar hands it off to Zach Charbonnet, trying to get something going on the edge, but the defense holds firm. And an injury timeout by Baltimore. The tried and true injury timeout when you're trying to run out the clock. I don't think there's anything more consistent in Madden than that. 3rd and 8. Need this stop. Lamar, incomplete. It would have been short anyway. Pitts couldn't haul it in, and the Browns get to reserve that 2nd timeout. And they will get the ball back. With roughly 140-ish and 2 timeouts. Fair catch called for by Anthony Davidson. This offense was asleep for 3 quarters in this game. They've come alive here in the 4th. Can we get our 3rd consecutive touchdown drive to come out and win this game? Anthony Davidson will start this drive in the backfield. Short completion over the middle to Pete Starkey. Richardson. This time going to Driver. He's breaking a tackle and getting out of bounds. Nice effort there after the catch from Matt Driver. Gets us to the 46. We at least need a field goal. But we got to be thinking 6. Richardson gets caught up on his own offensive lineman. You can't be taking sacks, Donald. Get rid of the ball, bro. Richardson trying to escape again. This time he'll pick up 5. But now we're 3rd and 14. Under 50 seconds remaining. Richardson evading. Has a man downfield. Pete Starkey to the 13. Once again, just running free. This guy keeps getting lost in coverage, and Richardson finds him for the massive play. 40 seconds, 1 timeout. There's no way you screw the pooch on this. You just got to go for the touchdown now. Matt Driver will use our last timeout. That's so risky. That's so risky. This just feels like another terrible Madden ending bound to happen. No, it's not. DeMarcus Meredith scores the touchdown. Richardson celebrating with his offensive line. 30 seconds left in this game. Browns an extra point away from taking a 4-point lead. All DeMarcus Meredith does is score touchdowns. A very big PAT here. This means the Ravens need a touchdown. It's up and in. Now we want this one to come short of the end zone, and it does. Must just be some pretty nice wind out there if 99 kick power can't get you into the end zone. Lamar has played well today. What can he do with 25 seconds, 2 timeouts? Has Rashad Bateman. That'll get him to the 38. Baltimore uses their first timeout. Lamar. Deep downfield. He has a man! again! Not again! What are we doing there? How does Zay Flowers get so wide open? You have one job! How are you playing a safety on Zay Flowers by himself that deep down the field in this situation? I am stunned at this team's ability to choke away games that they had, you know, not necessarily in the bag. The Giants game last episode was a tie, but you had a 4-point lead with 25 seconds. The defense just had to not allow a touchdown in 25 seconds. Target line is not the 47-yard line. Jeremy Whalen hasn't made anything over like low 50s. I might have to bring back the field goal accuracy a little bit. I think 38 might be a little too harsh. Can we get the pass interference call? No, because I mean that was just an absolute dot by Donald Richardson. If we had done that last play, we would have been set up for a field goal. But the Browns somehow find a way to snap defeat out of the jaws of victory again, dude. Another insanely great comeback that just gets absolutely wasted by this team being trash down the final minutes. The first game, I'll honestly give most of the blame to Madden for calling a PI on a Hail Mary. That's some horse crap. We also couldn't score from the half-yard line to begin with. This time the defense gives up an absolutely insane play, man. I cannot believe we lost this game. Jahmyr Gibbs was awful. Although that was mostly, I believe, on the offensive line. I don't think it was, Gibbs. The tight ends were heavily involved on both sides. Matt Driver just, I don't know what I can do to get this guy involved in our offense. No sacks by Cleveland in this game. Lamar is a tough guy to bring down, but oh, this is so frustrating, man. I don't know what to say. At least we'd be able to come back and pick up a victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 21 points. I mean, Donald Richardson has 3 straight games of 3 touchdowns, no picks. Whoa, Michael Penix is the quarterback in Pittsburgh. Touchdown on the ground for Jahmyr Gibbs. Also another touchdown for Donald Richardson. Make that 4 touchdowns, no picks. Njoku back in the lineup. 97 yards and a touchdown. 85 and a touchdown for Driver. 78 and a touchdown for Jerry Jeudy. Defensively, we got 2 sacks out of Owe and another 1.5 out of Myles Garrett. Half for Bullock, half for Gibson. And hey, there you go. First half sack in the career of Xavier Underwood. And our interception, no surprise, Greg Newsome snags another one. A much tighter game the next week around, 27-24 win over the Miami Dolphins. Richardson, 262, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's been so much better this year avoiding these interceptions. I don't think Gibbs has had over 70 yards since week 3, which is a little bit unfortunate. DeMarcus Meredith led us in receiving today with 85 yards and a score. Jerry Jeudy, 83 yards and a score. 53 yards for Matt Driver. JOK back in the lineup. Nice to have him back, of course. He had a sack today, and then Mike Hall and Emerson shared another. No picks. But 4-2. 4-2 for the Browns after that heartbreaking loss to the Ravens. I guess this is just going to have to be the Baltimore Ravens episode because we've got another really big matchup, but you can see just how well Donald Richardson is playing this year. 16 touchdowns to 1 interception. That is obviously an insanely good ratio. The Ravens are 5-1. We're 4-2. This is Monday Night Football, and so we've got one of probably the best games on the NFL schedule so far this season on the docket for this week. I also feel like we need to get some revenge for that last game. Going to be more difficult this time around, though. On the road. Can't allow the Ravens to sweep us. Let's get it. Ravens getting the ball first and driving with it. Down to the Cleveland 40. Lamar wasting all the time on the shot, on the game clock, play clock. I don't know why I couldn't remember the word play clock there. All for a gain of nothing there on first 10. George Pitt's in motion here on second down. Lamar has a man on the slant. Rashad Bateman hauls it in. These Ravens, they like to waste a lot of the clock here, shorten down these games. Pitts over the middle, fumbled the ball, and we finally get on top of it. Like 5 Cleveland Browns all miss the ball before finally Daniel Gibson pounces on it, and we get the opening drive turnover. They were doing their standard Baltimore, steadily march their way down the field, and finally the defense comes up with a big-time play. Let's go ahead and check in now on Cleveland's opening drive. It looks like Matt Driver will be out for this game. Why are we so bad at blocking Justin Madubuike? Don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but he's single-handedly making it impossible to run the ball, and he's not that good of a player. 2nd and 13. Just run outside! You have the edge. Why did you try to cut it back inside? And why are we running on 2nd and 13 in the first place? It's an awful decision all around. Leads to 3rd and 14. Richardson's just going to take the check down. That was very frustrating to watch. Right there. 3 plays in a row that were just awful. Or forced to punt. Back-to-back George Pitt's receptions, over 20 yards each. Instantly puts Baltimore in scoring range, and the pass defense is just giving no resistance at all at the moment. Letting Baltimore do whatever they want. Foles almost looks like he went in the neutral zone there in motion. Pickup of 7 there. That will be the end of the first quarter. Still 0-0. But I'd definitely say Baltimore's looked better. It's just been the one turnover, really. It's gone in Cleveland's favor so far. From the 6. Lamar loves to just take his time. I don't know why he's so slow at snapping the ball compared to pretty much any other quarterback that I watch in this game. From the 2 now, after a nice run by Ernie McFerrin. It'll be an option play. Lamar stopped up in the backfield. First one to get in and disrupt was Gibson, but the one to finish the play was Ben Folds. From the 4 now, McFerrin flanking Lamar in the backfield. It'll just be a quarterback power run down to the 1. Now the heavy package. 3rd and goal from the 1. We get some penetration. McFerrin into the end zone for the Baltimore touchdown. Ravens strike first here on Monday Night Football. Very tough team to stop in the red zone with Lamar's threat of running himself. Picking up here on a nice looking Browns drive following the touchdown. And I thought that was going to be picked. Instead, it's Njoku for a first. I don't want to see Donald Richardson's interceptionless streak break today. Towards the corner, jumping up and incomplete. Would have been a nice reception there on the sideline. Instead, we have 2nd and 10. Empty formation. Ravens sending pressure. Richardson evading it and picking up 7. That brings it to 3rd down from the 21. Richardson has Ricky Pearsall. I haven't seen much from him, one of our free agent signings this offseason, after he lost the job to Meredith. But with this Matt Driver injury, it gives him some opportunity. Richardson finds rookie Mason, another guy who will get some more opportunity from the Matt Driver injury. 2nd and 1. Richardson making a check at the line. He has a man in the end zone. Who else but Marcus Meredith? He's been sitting on the practice squad, sitting on the bench in his career, playing special teams, has finally got his chance this season, and he's making the most of it. 1 minute left here in the first half. These Ravens games seem to fly by. It's because these possessions are always so long by Baltimore with how much they run the ball, and Cleveland has a chance, just their 3rd possession of the ball game, and we're about to head into the half. Have a chance to take the lead. Timeout by Cleveland following the Jerry Jeudy reception. Alone in the backfield, Richardson back to pass, using the crossing route, and he has Njoku down to the 3. Browns will use their 2nd timeout. Gibbs on the toss, and was it just me, or did he look like he slowed down a bit there? Some of these outside runs, I'm expecting Gibbs to have a little bit more juice, and I don't know if he's just trying to cut inside or what. Meredith again. You've got to be kidding me. When we're in the red zone, just look for where number 19 is lined up, because he's probably getting the ball. Richardson's favorite target once we get inside the 10. And with 39 seconds left in the half, Cleveland will take the lead. Ravens were able to tack on a field goal prior to the half. It feels like our defense always lets that play up. But so it would be 14-10 heading into the half, and now the Browns are driving here with their first possession of the second half. Gibbs. Haven't seen much from him this episode. Just 10 for 27 so far tonight. 3rd and 4. And he's got Njoku for the conversion. 173 yards passing for Richardson in this game. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Fake the give to Gibbs. Richardson, and that's the interception. The Ravens finally caught on to, you got to guard 19. Richardson went for the big play, forced it over the middle, and his interceptionless streak comes to an end. I don't know if he just didn't see that guy or what, because that was a really bad decision. The way he plays against us, I think George Pitts might be the best tight end in football. Every time I hop into the simulator, it's just George Pitts reception after George Pitts reception. But anyway, Baltimore now driving here as the third quarter now is approaching its close. Lamar finds Charbonnet, but it'll be a pretty big loss for the Ravens here, and that'll end the third quarter. Entering the fourth with the opportunity to hold the Ravens to 3. You wonder if they'll take it or go for it. Probably depends on how many yards they'll need, as the field goal doesn't do too much other than just trim it to 1 point. The deficit here. Man in motion on 3rd and 8. It's Zay Flowers. Lamar has George Pitts again. 7 for 114, dude. Looking like prime Gronk or Travis Kelce out here whenever he plays us. Lamar over the middle as Zay Flowers for the touchdown. He just beat Denzel Ward cleanly on that play. And Lamar hit him in stride and make that Martin Emerson he beat. All runs so far this drive for Cleveland, but it's working out pretty well. Jahmyr Gibbs and Richardson. And as soon as we hop in, of course, the run game stops working. Jahmyr Gibbs held to a gain of nothing. They'll give it right back to him, though, and just 2 this time around. I don't know why we can't run the football. We've got a good offensive line. We have Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know what else I can do. Nice throw on the curl. We know how dangerous that play can be at times, but when you throw it with anticipation, it works just fine. 1st and 10. Back to the ground game. Gibbs. Loss of 2. I honestly don't get it. Why can Jahmyr Gibbs never gain more than 2, it seems like, whenever we're watching? Nice throw. Njoku, catch and run, down to the 8. All alone over the middle, and Richardson let him catch it without having to break stride, and uses his momentum to get inside the 10. To the corner! No! How do you miss that? You'll never guess who was the target, though. Cleveland's going to challenge. I thought it looked like a touchdown. Meredith. Oh, yeah, he got 2 feet in for sure. How was this called incomplete? The ref's right there. How do you miss it? Touchdown, Cleveland. DeMarcus Meredith's 3rd receiving touchdown of this game. Our defense just can't stop anything with Baltimore's pass game right now. I think Lamar has 2 incompletions, and one of them was a drop. Give here to McFerrin. He breaks a tackle. He's down inside the 10. We had him, it looked like, swallowed up easily. And he just outran everybody and broke the tackle. Now we can't even stop the run game. There's definitely something going on with this defense compared to previous years. It is not what it once was. I know Baltimore only has 17 points. That's because the possessions have been very, very limited in this game. Charbonnet. He will get down to the 2. For 3rd and goal now. And at this point, it's got to be 4 down territory. Nearing the 4-minute mark here in this game. We've got another close game upcoming. Can we finally win one of these? And Lamar into the end zone. How does nobody touch him there? We had guys just sitting there waiting for him, and nobody decides to tackle him. What is it with this Cleveland Browns team late in these ball games, man? 2 minutes, 20 seconds remain. The Browns are in Baltimore territory. Richardson going for it all right here. No, it's knocked away at the last seconds. Judy had maybe half a step. It would have needed to be the perfect throw, and it was just barely not that. Meredith, 11 catches in this game. We're headed to the 2-minute warning. I swear, if we score a touchdown with under 30 seconds remain and lose again, I'm uninstalling the game. Third and 2. Following the 2-minute warning. Njoku hauls it in. The old reliable Njoku and DeMarcus Meredith. It's been our offense in this game. Right back to him. First down again. That'll get us down inside a minute. From the 14. Back to pass again. This time to Jahmyr Gibbs. He's breaking tackles, but couldn't quite get out of the grasp of that defender there. Cleveland takes a timeout here. 41 seconds. 2nd and 2. To Njoku. He's in the end zone for the touchdown. We've done it again. Can the defense hold on this time around? I can't celebrate just yet. I've seen it happen in both of the other games we've watched this year. I'm not getting excited until that clock strikes triple zeros. Now for the kickoff. If we can kick it short of the end zone here, waste a couple seconds, I wouldn't be mad. We don't even get it inside the 5. 24 of 27 for 281 yards and a touchdown. 35 seconds, all 3 timeouts, but they need a touchdown. I swear if we let this up again. Tight end in motion. Play action. George Pitts. Who else? He's like the DeMarcus Meredith of the Ravens. Lamar. We'll take that all day. Baltimore should be calling timeout. They won't. That's a big-time mistake. They wait till 11 seconds to call a timeout. That was some awful clock management by the Ravens. They've got 2 plays left, likely. Lamar, he's going to run. He's going to be stopped up by Martin Emerson. That's a big tackle. All we need to do here is avoid the Hail Mary. No pass interference on the Hail Mary. They're not even going to go for the Hail Mary. Okay. They get the quick play. Now it's Hail Mary time. No pass interference. No touchdown. Oh my goodness. Myles Garrett just destroyed the tackle. Not even going to give him a chance. That's how you beat the Hail Mary in Madden. And the Cleveland Browns finally win one of these close games. No late clock shenanigans in this one. And that will tie the Ravens and the Browns at 5-2 apiece atop the AFC North following a Monday Night Football Classic. Both of these games were decided in the final minutes. What a division rivalry here against Baltimore. Going through stats, Unfortunately, the interceptionless streak for Richardson came to an end. We knew it was going to happen eventually, but still 3 touchdowns to 1 pick. Gibbs continues to kind of struggle. This is a better performance for McFerrin than the first game. 8 for 89 and a touchdown for Njoku, but 11 for 101 and 2 touchdowns for Meredith. I mean, the Njoku-Meredith love gets even bigger when Matt Driver's not on the field. Sacks-wise, once again, we did not sack Lamar once in either of these 2 games. Myles Garrett got very close, of course, on that final play. But that was a very satisfying victory after how we lost last time around against Lamar and the Ravens. And I think it's also a great way to end off this episode here. And of course, as always, we'll end off with some player upgrades. Jahmyr Gibbs, just get him up to a 96 overall. It's pretty good. Brian Branch, our other superstar free agent acquisition. I think I'd like for him to get a little bit of man coverage out of this upgrade, hopefully. +1. All right, we'll take it. He's also now up to a 95 overall. Greg Newsome. Let's make him a 90. He's pretty much probably about as good as he's going to get. He's now 28 years old. Corners start to regress fairly early. Donald Richardson, what a start to the season he has had. We'll make him a scheme fit, which I do believe will increase his desire to re-sign, which will be a factor, I believe, next year. Something to keep in mind now with his morale and temporary boost up into the 90s for all of his accuracies. Mike Hall Jr. on a little bit of a cold streak. Haven't seen much in the way of production from him lately. He'll get a scheme fit. Upgrade there. Matt Gleason in his potentially final season with the Cleveland Browns. Depending on whether or not we temporarily change our scheme, and even then we might just not have the money to keep him around. Pete Starkey, pretty quiet. Haven't been throwing much to the tight end too this year, but he had a good game when Njoku went down with injury. So probably somebody that won't get super involved until year 2. He's played enough to reveal that he has star development. Not surprised there. Ben Folds. As much as I'd love to get him to 85 overall, we still do get a overall upgrade by going with pass coverage here. DeMarcus Meredith, the breakout player of the season so far. Maybe across the entire NFL, let alone just the Browns. He's easily our breakout player. But he's been extremely productive here for our squad. We do have one injury. Whoops, I pressed the button a little early here. We do have one injury here. See who it's to. And Jeff Beverly, the right tackle, will be out for the next 3 weeks. Matt Driver, luckily, was just a 1-week practice injury for him. Trade deadline approaching. How do we approach it? On the one hand, we are risking losing some players for nothing because of the way Madden works, and they don't give you comp picks. At least you could, in real life, justify not trading away player more because you're going to get a comp pick for them. In this game, you don't get that. At the same time, though, this team is looking really good right now at 5-2. And you don't want to lose a player that could help you potentially make a postseason run. Difficult decisions we are in as we approach the trade deadline, but I certainly want to know what you would do, who you'd keep, who you'd try to trade in this season. But that's all I've got here for the episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like on the video. We'll be back with more Cleveland Browns realistic franchise rebuilds, and until then, go Browns.